Got a porgy. Alright, so you know they're around. We're trying to and get some bigger ones. Well, the porgies are out here. Doesn't look like there's too many of them, but I just saw some bait drop down. Wanted to see what it was. Yeah, I'm headed out to a deeper spot. I want to try for sea bass first. It's getting a little windy, but it shouldn't get any worse than it is now. So I'm going to try the deeper spot first and then work my way in. This wind is pushing on shore. Be getting pushed back towards land as the day progresses. But should be able to get on some porgies at least here. But hoping for some sea bass and maybe some fluke. I might throw the underwater down to see what we got down there. It's a little churned up. Don't know if it's going to be coming out too much. I've had a lot of rain, a lot of wind. So I'm marking some more bait on the screen. Still not deep enough to where I want to be. But, you know, anytime I see marks with bait and maybe some fish around it, I'm gonna drop down because I just never know what it is. And you never know what fish might be lurking around bait that you don't mark. I don't give it too much time, but I give it something. Ooh. That's a fluke. I don't think it's a keeper though. Some good head shakes though. I don't know, what is that? Oh, it's a weak fish. That's cool. So looks like maybe that was, see? You never know. Cool to see weak fish on a bait like that. I never would have thought it was going to be weak fish. Whoa. Yeah, it's about 16 and a half. He was taking on this, I think it's a 1.3 ounce. It's a 1.3 ounce Mackinaw. They have a very similar fluke head shake. The way they shake their head, it's a very similar feeling to a fluke. Just like a little bit deeper head shake, but very similar. This is actually really cool. Kind of like a weed line, and it really is a looks like a type of seaweed, floating seaweed, like, which reminds me of sargassum, Florida. Maybe some peanut dolphin around here. Wouldn't that be cool? Crazy, huh? I got a couple water bottles I picked up, but I don't want to spend all day just cleaning up trash, because that's probably what it would take to get it all out of here. The first spot that I dropped the underwater camera down is about 30 feet. I wanted to see if I had clarity at this depth, and it wasn't great, so I ended up moving shallower. But here you'll see there's a couple porgies down here, but they're not really going after it. But a sea robin will gladly go after it. Here's a big porgy that he sees it. It grabs his attention. He goes after the fish bites first. And I say that because you'll see on the couple of the next ones, they actually will attack the flash first. I'm still trying to find a good spoon, lightweight spoon that can give wobble and not be too heavy. Because as you can see here, if I go too quickly, it shakes the camera, but if it's too slow, it kind of drags the bottom. So there's got to be a perfect balance, and I'm still trying to find that. Here in this next clip, you'll see what I'm talking about. Wow, see that right there? See how fast that porgy came in? But he went for the flash first. And then he gets all aggressive and sees the fish bites and goes after it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. He's a decent sized porgy, and he's all lit up with the black stripe. Here it is again. Porgy comes in, bam, right to the flash first. If you look closely too, the hook is actually snagged like a shell, and the porgy doesn't care. Alright, so I caught a couple porgies in the underwater. And they were liking the fish bites. Now I just kind of want to have some fun and actually catch some fish. So I'm gonna go this little leg paddle tail. Whew. Hopefully get some bigger porgies. There we go. Just wanna, get a meal. And play some catch and release porgies with, if I'm lucky, a fluke. I kept one sea robin too. After I catch enough porgies for a meal, I want to try and strip that sea robin. Use it for fluke bait. That guy came up and grabbed it. Oh man. Tell you what, definitely immediately seeing a size difference of porgies as soon as I switched to the paddle tail from the fish bites. Is definitely more of a, like a bait. But those big porgies, they really want to go after something alive, I think. So I'm a little shallower now. We're in 20 feet of water. Seems to be a good amount of porgies here in 20 feet. Just drifting. It's not really a good wind with tide situation, but the porgies just don't seem to care. I think that's just much more of a fluke thing. Oh, that's a fluke. Nope. It came off. It's being a little silly with it. There we go. It's a decent one. It's a decent one. Alright, I think that's enough for a meal. I want a dark strip. That's the strip. Pretty sure I want to go through the skin though. Much stronger. Let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah. That's gonna catch me a fluke. Alright guys, that's it for today. Yeah, nothing too special. Just you know, typical porgy summer type fishing out here. Weak fish was kind of cool there in the beginning of the day. No sea bass, and didn't really see much life on that rock pile that I tried a little deeper. That was about 2 miles out, so it's kind of far. Oh, David, you find it crazy that I go out this far on this little boat. But yeah, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Good little session. Wish the weather was a little better, but I'm overall content. I got my fix. All right. See you next time. Yeah, I mean, porgies are pretty prevalent in the summer, so I don't want to get too tired of eating them, so I try to experiment a little bit on how to prepare them, because, you know, after a while you can only have so much fried fish. But this is a baked recipe, and I think you guys should try it out. It's pretty good. So, you know, here I'm filleting the fish, just skinning it, and then I'm gonna debone it. I want fillets for this, you know. And here I'm taking out the bloodline. Very important to take out the bloodline, especially on a porgy. I don't know what it is, but for some reason I feel like the porgy bloodline does have a fishy taste if you leave it in there for too long. I do believe proper preparation in your fillets is very important. You know, as many of you probably know, you never want to rinse it with fresh water. So I won't rinse these fish. I'll just pat them dry and I'll put them in the fridge. With this recipe though, I'm going to soak these in an olive oil. So I find that actually preserves them pretty well too, if you put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in some oil. And lastly, just don't forget to keep them cold and on ice. This is a rosemary and garlic.
Huh?
Probably shake it first. Are you making faces for the camera?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're gonna be on YouTube though. This is the porgy that's been marinating in the oil, thyme, and garlic. And I put some also in just a typical like salad dressing marinade. You can see with the vinegar, this one's, you know, cooking a little bit. So I want to see if I can tell a difference. And then pretty much marinating the same amount of time. But I'm gonna wipe off the marinade and put them in the dish with the same recipe and see if I can see that the marinating did a difference. So this recipe is going to be baked, and we're going to use some pretty simple ingredients. We got salt, paprika, salt, pepper, paprika, some tomatoes, a lime, garlic, and chives. Chives is the key, I think. Could also add white wine, but I'm gonna skip the white wine for this recipe, but it is a very good thing to add. Since these are just olive oil, I'm gonna put these directly on. Start with some olive oil. Just gonna coat it. All right, and now we're going to dice all this up. These are actually sea bass fillets that my friend gave me. He went out on a party boat on the South Shore earlier this morning and called me up. So yeah, thank you so much, Andrew, for your catch. I appreciate it, and I already had the porgies from when I went out, so what I figured I'd do is actually try to compare the two. So I'm putting the baked porgy up against the fried sea bass. The seasoning in the bag is something very similar to what I showed you guys about the fried porgy. It's paprika, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and flour. Almost there. Fried fish went a little quicker. That's alright. It's staying hot. Yeah, that looks about done. It's bubbling. So this part is the marinade salad dressing. This part is the regular oil. Okay, so this is the marinade porgy. Pretty good. I can taste the marinade, I think. This is regular olive oil porgy. Yeah, different. The meat is firmer. Here it just got like a, it's just softer because of, I think, the vinegar. Alright, so they definitely taste different. And here's the sea bass. And alright, so for the sea bass, fried sea bass. I mean, it's hard to beat the fried sea bass, but my my favorite is this, actually, the porgy baked. That's the way to do it. That's good. These two are the best. It's just, it's hard to beat fried fish when it's sea bass, but yeah, I think this this baked porgy is good, and there's definitely a difference though. I don't like marinating it. I think it makes the meat too mushy with the vinegar.